I'm so lucky because Hélène finished with what she said. Because for me, politics, democracy, is not just an issue of government at the state level and at the political level. It's a matter of power and authority and our relationship to it. And even in a big NGO, where I had years of experience at the highest level of governance, I saw how it works, and it works top down, believe me. And this is the same thing that happens in the corporate sector. This is why so many young people don't want to work in big organizations anymore. They're dreaming of creating their own thing, going out there, finding something that has purpose. This is why big organizations, big corporates are looking for talent and have difficulty finding it. So for me, it's much bigger than just political institutions, government, and political approach. It's a bigger thing of power and authority. So thank you for finishing on that. And I just want to throw this out, and maybe we can continue the conversation. But now, back to the panel that I'm supposed to moderate now, which is the panel on education. And of course, education on our cube, you saw it, comes immediately after democracy. Actually, it should come before. It's probably a prerequisite. And I want to invite, let me just see how I'm going to do this, because it's a little bit complicated. We have two people really here with us. And most of them will have Mr. Doukakis. Instead of Irini Tsavala, we have Kostas Chorianopoulos, who is a teacher and who is doing really this bottom up. So I'm going to invite them immediately after I start with the story of Kiran Bir Sethi, who is an Indian woman, a designer, who many years ago, more than 20 years ago, decided that she wasn't happy when her 6-year-old attended school, her little boy, because he was exactly going to lose what we heard earlier on. He was going to lose his pleasure in learning, his critical thinking, his skills of cooperation, of creativity, of communication. And Kiran, instead of waiting for the Indian government or protesting or starting, to complain, what she did, she went out of her comfort zone. She was a designer, but she was a mother who cared. So she stood up and said, I'm going to create my own school. And the school she created is called the Riverside School in Ahmedabad in India. 22 or 5 years later, it has been awarded the best innovative school in the world by Harvard University. And today, she has shared her method. I will say a little bit more about her method. She has shared her method in 72 countries in the world with thousands of teachers, and it affects more than 2 million children. So this, for me, is the story that can inspire us. And there, I want to bring up another issue that has to do with certition. Certition has a role to play, but if you just go by accident and take the citizens, they have their role to play, and we must look into it. But there are other citizens, and those citizens are Kiran and Kostas, and the people that we had yesterday here, the people who have already done it, they're not just there to give their advice or to give their opinion or to be patronized or to be impressed by the Minister of Education. They are there to tell him how to do it. And there the power relationship turns around because, I'm sorry, they know better. Because what Kiran has achieved, not many ministers of education, I know at least, have ever achieved and will ever achieve. So we should look into certition, but we should also look into the powerful, the empowered, the energized, responsible citizens that are doing this kind of job. So, Myrto, I cannot see you, but I think you have a small video on Design for Change, and then I will explain a little bit more what it does. Can't hear you.
What does it mean to educate our children? Consider this, that if we are human by chance, does education play a role to make us humane by design? So, Riverside became a lab, iteration, prototyping became the practice, and the I can mindset became the impact.
Unfortunately, most ministers of education today are so consumed with science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and having higher test scores that they forget that at the end of the day, if we don't have people of good character, people who do the right thing, intellect in itself will destroy the world. It will not save it. The world has a lot to learn from what's happening here at Riverside School.
So when we crafted FIDS, which is the Feel, Imagine, Do, Share, it offered our children the 4-step superhero formula, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it was a set of tools we gave them to be able to make the world, in fact, their world, a little bit more just, a little bit more equitable, a little bit more beautiful. So in 2009, when I launched Design for Change, it was a way to share this belief system with every child on the planet.
Io posso, noi possiamo.
So when we knew it was working at Riverside, we set out to codify every single practice and process at Riverside so that it could become replicable and then therefore scalable so that other schools could even deepen their impact.
Your approach to fostering students' leadership and to preparing them to shape a better future has impacted so many lives.
In fact, the practices at Riverside started, influencing and inspiring schools around the world to see what was possible.
You've never learned to give up in the school. It's all about I can.
So, it was a little bit quick, and I just want to repeat the method, because it was also about deliberation, FIDS. Feel, imagine, do, share. When the children are asked to decide what matters for them, and it starts from kindergarten, so your daughter could benefit from that, they are supposed to deliberate between themselves. What is important for them? What matters? What do they care about? It can be the fact that there's bullying in school, that there is not a tree in their courtyard, that they are climate anxious. It doesn't matter, but they have to discuss and they have to agree. And once they discuss and they agree, then we move on to I, which is imagine. And I like that it's imagine, not think. Because if it's think, it's in the box. And if it's imagine, it's outside of the box. And we are not able to think anymore outside of the box, but children are able to do it. And then you bring them down to earth and you ask them, do. And they do something about it. And they literally do. And if you go into the site of the Riverside School and of the Design for Change movement, they're like 20,000 examples of what children have done around the world, literally done. And then, of course, S stands for share. So, why are we so interested about it? Because for us at the World Human Forum, when I met with Kiran many years ago, the first thing that interested me was her personal story. It was, here is a citizen who tries to change the world. I hadn't realized how much more was behind it, the whole methodology. I hadn't realized that we had been luckily connected with the person that in our experience best shows how the logic of the World Human Forum, through this change that happened from the bottom up, including from children, can be implemented. Now, of course, the next step for us is to bring design for change to Greece. We are very happy today. We have with us Mr. Doukakis. Please join me here. Spyros Doukakis is the president, the chair of the Hellenic Institute of Educational Policy. And here it's getting really interesting, because here is where bottom-up has to reach top-down. We can bring it to Greece, but we need a framework that allows us to get into Greek schools. And this is where we need to cooperate. Mr. Doukakis, thank you for being here. And please tell us how you see this and what you think you can do, and what the position of the ministry is today when it comes to this type of approaches.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. And also thank you about the theme of this session, of this panel, because I immediately thought of my journey. Education for me is about 50 years of experience, even from children of 4 years old when I went to the pre-garden school, and also after that as a student at the university, teacher for 23 years, and after that academic professor in the university at Ionian University, and then president of the Institute of Educational Policy for the Ministry of Education. And you know, I still work in the classroom, and every time we think the ways that the children can imagine. And you say this I, and after that you say the do, you said the D, to do things. And this was the reason behind the idea from the previous years to have the active citizen activities, and we create a new curriculum for secondary, from the primary and secondary schools, where the children have to work on the field and not in the classroom. They have to do things, as Kiran said to us before, to do things for the community, for the small community, for their school, or even for their society. Let me tell you some things about the program, and I think that I can cooperate this with I just come back from Denmark yesterday night, and in the meeting with the European Union Director Generals of Education from the European countries, we had the chance to discuss also with the children, with active citizen children that they are working in their countries. And all of us came the same idea in the meeting, that it's an old proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And today, it's maybe the idea that we have to say that it takes a world to raise a global, small, active citizen. So for our program, in the Greek program, and I will give you some ideas of the program that it's running right now in the schools. We use hands-on activities, investigation, and activities, learning activities such as develop self-awareness and discover their skills and interests, learn to take on new challenges, acquire new abilities, cultivate critical thinking and question stereotypes, practice goal setting and commitment, enhance collaboration, social skills, and democratic participation, understand and act on ethical values, solidarity and respect, plan and carry out real projects to improve their community and school. Through this experience, students, we hope to become more active, responsible, and globally minded citizens ready to face social, economic, and environmental challenges. This is the whole idea right now, and this is the second year that we're working on this new project with the help of the Minister of Education, Sophie Dand, and we are trying to have more and more activities like this in schools in order to help students to become real, active citizens.
Thank you very much, and we certainly hope to contribute through bringing Design for Change to Greece and give you more content and more inspiration to continue. But there is another program that started differently. It started from Greece, from another ancient site. I want to ask those of you who don't speak Greek maybe to look for translation, because Kostas Chorianopoulos, who is going to join us and who is a teacher, is going to speak in Greek. The story of this, please Kostas, join me. The story of this project is different. It started from one of our other inspirational ancient Greek sites, which is the site of Delos. Delos is a small island opposite Mykonos, the famous party island, but Delos was a very important sacred site also, as well as commercial site in antiquity. The reason the World Human Forum went to Delos was simply because we had the opportunity to come up with an interesting narrative that had to do with how NASA, the famous American Space Agency, and ESA used the names of our ancient Greek gods. They sent the first man to the moon, calling it Apollo mission, and they're planning to send the first woman to the moon, calling it Artemis mission. At that moment, we felt that maybe we too should send a message from Delos. And the message we wanted to send from Delos was actually a pretty straightforward one. It was about the importance of humanities, art, and spirituality if we wanted to achieve the challenge of saving life on our planet, and particularly Delos, which is a place that was endangered by the rising Mediterranean Sea through climate change, was a wonderful symbol of that danger. So we created Alpha Mission Delos, Alpha, of course, because of Apollo, Artemis, artificial intelligence, ancestral intelligence, anthropos, and art. All those alphas together created Alpha Mission Delos. But we weren't planning to do anything about children. It wasn't part of our idea. Now, the first people who came to the first meeting 5 years ago were inspired by the idea, and they shared it with others, and others shared it with teachers. And here is the teacher who heard first about it, Kostas Chorianopoulos. And he said, this story that it cannot only be science and technology. We need to remind our children of the importance of what we call for adults, humanities, art, and spirituality. But for children, it is mythology, because there's nothing more inspiring for children than mythology. And maybe they should think in a more holistic way if they want to think about addressing the challenges of our time. And this is what suddenly happened, because 2 years later, Mr. Chorianopoulos and many other Greek teachers came back to us telling us, you know what, we have created an educational program called From Myth to Space that is connected with 150 schools, I think, the first year, and now something like 900 schools. So, Kostas Chorianopoulos, thank you for being here. You are exactly the kind of person who, as a teacher, decided once you find an opportunity to get out, to create a network, and to inspire so many other Greek teachers, and most importantly, so many children. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Καλημέρα και από εμένα, νομίζω ακούγομαι. Να μιλήσουμε και λίγο στα ελληνικά. Η προσπάθεια αυτή ξεκίνησε πριν από 2 χρόνια, το 2023-2024 σε σχολικά έτη, κύριε Πρόεδρε, και ξεκίνησε αυθόρμητα. Και ξεκίνησε ακούγοντας τη φράση που είπατε, κύριε Μητσοτάκη, του Γκάντι, ότι αν θες να δεις την αλλαγή, γίνε ο ίδιος αλλαγή. Και αυτό επιχειρούμε να κάνουμε μέσα στις σχολικές τάξεις. Ξεκίνησε πολύ απλά, εγώ με άλλον ένα συνάδελφο από την Νάξο, τον κύριο Σκάρκο, και φτιάξαμε έτσι μία επιτροπή, ένα δίκτυο, καθαρά αυθόρμητα, χωρίς να έχουμε συγκεκριμένα κάτι στο μυαλό μας, γιατί ξέρετε η διδασκαλία, ο κύριος Doukakis το ξέρει καλά, χρειάζεται και λίγο αυθορμητισμό. Γιατί αυθορμητισμό? Τα καταστρέψαμε, συγγνώμη. Είπαμε αυθορμητισμό έχει η διδασκαλία και ο δάσκαλος πρέπει να είναι αυθόρμητος και να είναι ευέλικτος και να προσαρμόζεται σε όλες τις καταστάσεις. Αυτό πρέπει να μάθουμε και τα παιδιά μας. Και πήγαμε να εφαρμόσουμε αυτό που αποτελεί αναγκαιότητα της εποχής, την ολιστικότητα. Να μην ξέρεις μόνο καλά μαθηματικά, το είχατε πει στο πρώτο συνεδριό μας, κυρία Μητσοτάκη, να μην ξέρεις μόνο καλή ιστορία, να μην ξέρεις μόνο καλή βιολογία, μόνο καλή φιλοσοφία. Πρέπει να γνωρίζεις τα πάντα. Και αυτό είναι που λέμε και στους μαθητές μας, γιατί έτσι πραγματικά θα φτάσετε στο σημείο να επιλέξετε και να κάνετε αυτό που θέλετε. Και πρέπει οι μαθητές μας να μπουν σε αυτή τη φάση της ολιστικότητας για να γίνουν ενεργοί πολίτες, κύριε Πρόεδρε. Να μπορούν να αποφασίζουν σε μια δημοκρατία, να έχουν κρίση, να έχουν άποψη. Εγώ σας μεταφέρω την εμπειρία μου από την τάξη, το λέω στους μαθητές μου ότι πολλά πράγματα τα τρώγαμε αμάσιτα. Δεν σκεφτόμασταν. Η γενιά η δική μου. Η γενιά των παιδιών που διδάσκω στην 6η τάξη, που έχουν 6 χρόνια εμπειρία και είναι στα μισά σχολικά τους χρόνια, πρέπει να αποκτήσουν την κριτική σκέψη. Το δίκτυο αυτό λοιπόν έρχεται με τρόπο πραγματικά μοναδικό να το αποδεχτούν συνάδελφοι και παιδιά. Μετράμε ήδη 2 χρόνια λειτουργίας με την πολύ μεγάλη συμβολή του World Human Forum και της κυρίας Μητσοτάκη προσωπικά, που μας πίστεψε από την πρώτη στιγμή και την ευχαριστούμε θερμά. Εγώ ξέρετε ότι τα λέω πάντοτε ανοιχτά. Καταμετρούμε 2 χρόνια τώρα σχεδόν 25.000 μαθητές αθρηστικά. Έχουμε εξαπλωθεί από τον υπηαγωγείο μέχρι και την 3η Λυκείου. Είναι σχολεία από όλη την Ελλάδα, από όλες τις περιφέρειες Ελλάδας και από το εξωτερικό. Και ζητάμε από τους μαθητές να μπουν στη διαδικασία σε ομάδες ομαδικά, μια προσομοίωση ίσως μιας δημοκρατικής κοινωνίας, να ανταλλάξουν απόψεις, να κάνουν εργασίες, να δημιουργήσουν πάνω σε θέματα επίκαιρα. Την κλιματική αλλαγή, την προγονική νοημοσύνη, τον πολιτισμό, να αντιληφθούν τη συνέχεια που έχουμε ως Έλληνες, όπως συνέχεια έχει η ελληνική μας γλώσσα, 4.000 χρόνια μιλάμε την ίδια γλώσσα, και να αντιληφθούν ακόμα ότι η εξέλιξη είναι μπροστά, ότι η τεχνητή νοημοσύνη έρχεται για να βοηθήσει και όχι να αντικαταστήσει, ότι πρέπει να προβληματιστούν για το πώς θα διαχειριστούν την κλιματική αλλαγή που αλλάζουν τα πράγματα μέρα με την ημέρα, με καθημερινά παραδείγματα. Και μέσα από τα μαθήματά τους καταφέρανε να δημιουργήσουν ένα πλαίσιο δουλειάς. Βλέπετε παιδιά, όλα αυτά τα παιδιά που βλέπετε στις εικόνες από το Αλφα Μίσιον Δήλος, έχουν δουλέψει μέσα στις τάξεις τους και είναι από διαφορετικές περιοχές της Ελλάδας. Εδώ είναι από τις Κυκλάδες. Και οργανώσαμε ένα δίκτυο στο οποίο μέσω τηλεδιασκέψεων, 4 στον αριθμό στο έτος, 30 λεπτών, μαθητές μόνο μπαίνουν στη διαδικασία να ανταλλάξουν απόψεις, να παρουσιάσουν τη δουλειά τους. Και σκεφτείτε ότι δεν υπάρχει καλύτερη συμπερίληψη. Εγώ θα το μεταφέρω, κύριε Πρόεδρε, αυτό αν μου επιτρέπετε, κυρία Μητσοτάκη. Όταν πρωτοέκανα την πρώτη τηλεδιάσκεψη, τη δοκιμή, την πιλωτική εφαρμογή που ονομάζουμε, με τον κύριο Σκάρκο από την Άξο, είχα στην τάξη μου ένα παιδί με πολύ έντονες μαθησιακές δυσκολίες, κυρίως στην ανάγνωση. επειδή πρέπει να ενθαρρύνουμε την πρωτοβουλία στους μαθητές, ζήτησα από τα ίδια τα παιδιά, λέω, αποφασίστε ποιος θα είναι ο εκπρόσωπός σας που θα μιλήσει στην τηλεδιάσκεψη. Επέλεξαν το παιδί αυτό. Η αλήθεια είναι ότι όντας εκπαιδευτικός προβληματίστηκα, μην τυχόν έγινε για λόγους έτσι να θέλουν να τον κάνουν να αισθανθεί άσχημα ή να γελάσουν τα παιδιά από την άξο που τυχόν δεν το ξέρανε. Ειλικρινά να τυχιάζω που το λέω και τώρα, έβλεπα παγωμένα παιδιά να περιμένουν το Γιάννη να τελειώσει την ομιλία του όπως και για όση ώρα μπορούσε να το κάνει. Αυτό ήταν κάτι που πραγματικά εμένα με άφησε με το στόμα ανοιχτό. Γιατί τελικά δεν υπάρχει καλύτερο πράγμα στη συμπερίληψη. Μπορεί να μιλάμε εμείς οι δάσκαλοι για διαφοροποιημένη διδασκαλία, για λιγότερες ασκήσεις, αλλά αν δεν είναι αυτό συμπερίληψη, τι είναι άραγε? Το ότι ενσωματώθηκε μέσα στην ομάδα και ότι τα παιδιά παρουσίαζαν τις δικές τους δουλειές, τη δικιά τους εργασία. Και έβλεπες πράγματα τα οποία δεν περιμέναμε ποτέ να φανταστούμε ή να κάτσουμε να τα δούμε. Γιατί για να μιλήσω και για τα κακά των δασκάλων, έχουμε το κακό εμείς οι δάσκαλοι να ετοιμάζουμε τη δουλειά και να λέμε στο παιδί παρουσίασέ το. Αυτό λέγεται μηδενισμός της αυτενέργειας. Και στην τάξη πρέπει να υπάρχει αυτενέργεια. Πρέπει να δημιουργήσουμε αυτούς τους ενεργούς πολίτες που θέλουμε, που θα φέρουν τη δημοκρατία, που θα προβληματιστούν, που θα κρίνουν, που δεν θα αποφασίζει ο άλλος και θα έρχεται έτοιμη, σερβιρισμένο, όπως λέμε στην τάξη, η λύση. Πάρτο και εκτέλεσέ το. Όχι. Πρέπει να δημιουργήσουμε σκεπτόμενους πολίτες. Καλύτερα σκεπτόμενους από εμάς ίσως. Αυτό ισχύει για μένα. Και γι' αυτό το λόγο καταλήξαμε στο να δημιουργήσουμε και ένα εκπαιδευτικό υλικό. Όταν είχαμε 21.000 παιδιά, φτάσαμε τα 900 σχολεία, είχαμε τόσες συμμετοχές. Ετοιμάζουμε ένα συνέδριο που έρχεται τώρα στο Μέγαρο Μουσικής στις 16 και 17 Ιανουαρίου και θα είναι 180 ζευγάρια, γιατί ενώνεται το αστικό κέντρο με την περιφέρεια. Θα έρθουν σχολεία, τα οποία σχολεία θα έρθουν, θα ταξιδέψουν. Θα έρθει, για παράδειγμα, έλαβα τη συμμετοχή σήμερα από το γυμνάσιο του Διδημοτήχου. Ήθελε τον υπηαγωγείο από τους Λειψούς να έρθει εδώ. Αυτό είναι κάτι μοναδικό σαν εμπειρία, να ενωθούν παιδιά. Και δημιουργήθηκε έτσι το εκπαιδευτικό υλικό και με την έγκριση του Διοικητικού Συμβουλίου και του κυρίου Δουκάκη δημιουργήθηκε ένα εκπαιδευτικό υλικό που εντάχθηκε στα εργαστήρια δεξιοτήτων, στο μάθημα το καινούριο που μπήκε, που στοχεύει στον ενεργό πολίτη και πήγε για την 6η τάξη που μπορούν οι εκπαιδευτικοί να το περάσουν και να το κάνουν ως μάθημα.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. I couldn't be more thankful to you because this is really, you know, just putting a seed, not even following it, not even doing anything about it. And then you came back. You are thanking me, but we are thanking you because it's you who did this. And the photograph, Myrto, that was just before, is the photograph of the children in Delos with the chief scientist of NASA, Nikki Fox, standing in the middle. This lady is running a budget of $4 billion. And she came to Delos and she wrote us a letter afterwards. And she said what impressed her most was the session with the children. So thank you very much to both. And we'll move on for our other guests. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ. The complexity of our work is that we are working at an international level and we try to connect dots and they are everywhere and way too much for us. So both Sophie Dand and Mariane Poncelet that are with us through video, I'm going to apologize immediately because I will have to cut your time down, but they're very important partners for the World Human Forum who have been working with both. I will start with Sophie. We have done an amazing film with Joyce Di Donato at Eden in Olympia, working with Sophie, and then I will go on to Mariane, who was with us in Delos. So you see again, all those connections happen through our ancient sites and the visits and the meetings and the inspiration we get from there. But maybe because we were in Delos, maybe I should just start with Mariane. Sorry, Sophie, let me have some, suite les idées, as the French would say. And let me ask Mariane to say a few things about the work you do and about the work we hope to do together in developing the green tails into blue tails.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ, Alexandra. I'm very pleased to be all with you, and also because you remind this fantastic experience of Delos, which was a fantastic source of inspiration for all of us. And also somehow we are connected with the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation, with Greece, and especially with Cyclades, because as you will know, Yehudi Menuhin had a house in Mykonos, so just in front of Delos. So we are connected from the heart with Greece and from Cyclades. So it's a good start. I wanted to say that some 30 years ago, Yehudi Menuhin had a dream. He had the dream that every child should sing and dance in schools before to start any learning of other disciplines such as science or mathematics and so on. Because through dancing and music, you could develop your emotion, express your emotion and your inner balance. And then after, when you are open to receive any other information, then you feel a lot more at ease and a lot more open to learn. So this idea came actually from Zoltán Kodály in the previous year. Zoltán Kodály was a musician, Hungarian composer, very close to Yehudi Menuhin. And Yehudi Menuhin was inspired by this because in Hungary, for example, all children were singing before learning anything at school. So it was really a tradition there. So we created some 30 years ago, based on that concept, the Muse program, which is still existing now and which exists in 12 countries. And I'm very happy to say that the 13th one is starting this year, and it is Greece, Athens, and probably Kalamata next year. What does it mean, the Muse program? The Muse program is to introduce artists to the primary schools to foster the inspiration, the poetic vision, the creativity, and the connection also of the children through the arts. So we have developed over the years a model which is called the CAT model, Children, Artist, Teacher, working all together. So there is no confrontation, there is no competition, more it's a dialogue between the three on the same level, the children, the artist, and the teachers. And the artist is an element which brings innovation in the school because they bring connection, they bring also transformation through the arts, and they open also the eyes of the children to the beauty of the world. Because at the end, what we want to inspire with the Muse program is an education to beauty. And to link it to the theme of today, how to re-enchant the world, I think the world is already enchanted since the creation of the world. Only we do not see it anymore, or we don't see it enough. So the question is, how do we open our eyes and see the enchanted world where we are living, this fantastic and poetical garden that was given to us and that we don't see anymore. And I think that through the work of the artist, we can reach that perception. So this is to start with the Muse program, which now exists in these countries. We have included more than 500 schools. We have 800 artists in these countries working every week with the children and the teachers, bringing this vision, poetic vision. And we have involved 4,500 teachers, and each year we touch through the arts more than 60,000 children. So I think, and this for 30 years. So I think it's not a big model, but an intense model, I would say, and a long-term model. And we are very proud to introduce it this year in Athens. And we have started a first training with 40 teachers in Eleupolis. and with the experts that we brought from Portugal, but who was a Greek actually. And that was a fantastic experience of 2 days working with 40 teachers from Athens and 3 directors of schools. And they were highly motivated by the works of the artists and by our experts, artists, also a dancer. And after, when we asked them what they had experimented, they all say they didn't know how powerful art can be in their teaching. So, and they are all expecting now the artists to come in their schools to boost their vision of education and to also link it to the enchanted world that we want to give to children.
Thank you, Mariane. Thank you very much. I know Myrto was present in those workshops. She came back very enthusiastic. I hope Mr. Doukakis is listening carefully, because I think this is a policy thing that is important to keep arts present in schools. And I think we are learning here a lot through your approach. And now back to Sophie. Sophie Dand, we met a year and a half ago when we took the big decision to shoot this film, Eden in Olympia, with Joyce Di Donato. The idea was that Joyce Di Donato wanted this very famous and amazing mezzo-soprano from Metropolitan, who during COVID felt the frustration of what could she do. The only thing she could do is sing. So she created Eden, a beautiful performance, bringing together lyrics through the history of lyric singing that all deal with the same problem, the flawed relationship we have with nature. And when Joyce Di Donato came to Athens, we realized what she was doing, and we went to see her. And actually, we didn't see her, we saw Sophie. You remember Sophie? And we said, why do you want to keep this in the operas of this world? How many people are attending opera? We must make this more open. We must be able to share this with many more people. Let's make a film out of it. And I remember the question was, but where? Which opera shall we choose to do the film? And we said, no, we don't choose an opera. You know, we go to a site that is a powerful site, that is also a cultural and a nature site, and we chose ancient Olympia. And this is how together we went to Olympia, we did the film, and where the children come in, Sophie, I leave this for you to explain.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alexandra, and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you again for the invitation. There are so many dots that just join up. Mariane, wonderful to hear of your amazing work, and the other panelists. So yes, 2020, Joyce was dreaming up this next project and looking at the state of the world, which you have been discussing, and seeing the disconnect between humanity and nature. And Joyce, back in her day, she grew up in the choir, as I did myself. And we realized the importance of music and arts education. And Joyce, we were coming at this from the touring artist management world of how can we have a greater impact when we are touring, when we are looking at environment. And so we co-created Eden Engagement, whereby we worked with youth choirs in every city that she toured to. So we toured to 50 cities across 4 continents. So we were in Asia, in America, and Canada, we were in Europe, South America. And every city we worked with a youth choir, and we partnered with an amazing organization, the International Teaching Artist Collaborative, ITAC, and they are a network organization of teaching artists. So they are artists in their own right in different fields of arts, and working with the choirs. We had workshops before the concert when we would arrive in the city, up to 12 workshops looking at local environmental issues, using visual arts, photography, theatre workshops, dance workshops. And we saw exactly this, that the children themselves have so many ideas and just need a forum, a space for themselves to create these solutions. They have such fantastic ideas. And still to this day, after we have finished the touring element of the project, you know, we have in Luxembourg, for example, we worked with the International Luxembourg School, with their school choir, with the ELEUSIS choir in Luxembourg. So we have a mixture of the children from the International School of Diplomats children, mixing with kids from migrant refugee background, and also partnered with the EME Foundation there, who also support refugee settled status families. And the choir came together, and I always just remember that, you know, one girl saying, you know, this joining the choir, the act of being part of something, I finally feel I belong. And I think this is what you are looking at here, re-enchanting the world. We're doing that bit by bit in the choir. It's a sort of a perfect way, part of the education in a choir is empowering the individual voice, but actually collectively is when we are working together as a choir to bring the unity, belonging, and the harmony. And yeah, so this was the vision, and it continues amazingly with World Human Forum, with the film being showcased at forums and conferences across the globe, working with even more children, bringing them into the Eden family. And I did want to share that actually, as I was thinking this morning, I was looking back at some of the feedback we had from the children, and I just thought this really aligned with what you are looking here, re-enchanting the world. This was from a 13-year-old girl in Berkeley, California. It's that we really need to protect the world if humanity will survive in a non-dystopian way. If we want to enjoy our world, we need to work with it, not use it. Eden engagement has given me the courage to do this. And another quote I love from a 13-year-old girl in Luxembourg: I feel inspired to plant sunflower seeds because they always bend and reach out to the light, and music is the light. And I should also add that a key part of the project, as well as the workshops, is the song Seeds of Hope. Our very first pilot workshop in London, we worked with a group of school students. We took them out into their school garden and gave them the question, what if trees could sing? And they came back and we ran a songwriting workshop around this theme. And from this, fragments of lyrics and harmonies, melodies, we had a wonderful teacher, Mike Roberts, who put all of their ideas into the song Seeds of Hope, which is now going around the globe, which is part of the film from Eden in Olympia, with this message of hope, from the students, from their voices. And I should add that with the International Teaching Artists Collaborative, it was really important for us. We know as musicians, as artists, the power that art has to transform lives. We know that. But they have a wonderful data analysis system, the Continuum of Impact, where we could really harness the data from this as well with our pre and post survey, workshop surveys. And we saw in the places we were working, maybe with the 12 workshops with a deeper impact, that, you know, students had a 80% greater awareness of climate issues, that they had 75% increase in their attitudes, their motivations, their belief that they could change something, and 70% increase in their ability to discuss these issues. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Seeds of Hope is one of the most beautiful songs you can hear. I don't think we have time to play it now for you, but maybe we can send it also through the connections we have so that you listen. It's worth also to listen to the words the children have chosen. There's something like, why are you doing this to us? And it's really very, very, very powerful. And we have had the opportunity as World Human Forum to organize screenings in Greece with ecological conferences. We also hope to organize screening in Paris. Happy to find partnerships in London. It's really a film and a story that can travel around the world, but the vision is to bring it to Los Angeles in 28, because of course it was done in Olympia, And of course, as I used to say, it's 3 in 1. You discover one of the most important ancient Greek sites as you have never seen it before, filmed with drones, and really the beauty of the site. You hear the message of the children, but also you discover opera, which is probably one of the most difficult and difficultly accessible modes of forms of music. So thank you both. Please stay connected, because I'm going to finish the session with a special guest who is not on our screen, but the way we do it at the World Human Forum is we have a very, what we call, organic growth process. I could also call it more negatively a little bit opportunistic, but we discover people every day who fit and match in the kind of work we're doing. Now, I cannot see anything, but I do hope that Victoria is somewhere in this room. Is Victoria here? Yeah, okay. So why don't you join me, Victoria? Victoria was invited because she spoke yesterday at RE-ENCHANTING Communities. She has a wonderful project in Nairobi called Wonderland for local communities. But in fact, I would say, equally important, if not more important, endeavor she has engaged in is to create a network of schools in Africa called the Douara Network of Schools. And we felt that maybe listening to all this and maybe connecting you also with Kiran and bringing Design for Change in you, the Douara network, could be a way of doing things. So please share with us what you are doing at the level of schools. And here again, and I have to say, is a young woman who, with a partner, has decided to get engaged in something that is really change-making and therefore gives us a lot of hope. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, and it's so nice to be here again. Yeah, Douara is really addressing, trying to address so many of the issues that we've talked about today, in that the access to quality education, and quality education being an education that provides agency, that provides choices, that is based on not only academic cramming, but really the critical thinking, the love, the possibility, the imagination that is needed for today, that this is not accessible to so many children in the world. And on the African continent, this number is 450 million children who don't have that access because either public schools don't provide it, high quality private schools are just inaccessible. Emerging so-called low-cost private schools are, if at all, marginally better. So you have this massive gap that exists. And what we found is that, on the other hand, there is an incredible opportunity with teachers, and with teachers who have an immense passion for bringing educational opportunity to the children in their community, and who want to be entrepreneurial and who dream of starting their own schools, but often say that they don't have the tools, they don't have the courage, they don't have the capital, they don't have the skills, the knowledge, the community, and so basically never realize their dream. And so what Douara does is literally just bringing those two things together. We say, how do we address this massive gap of accessible education through the opportunity of turning teachers into entrepreneurs, and into entrepreneurs of what we call community-based micro schools. So small schools that are very rooted both physically and spiritually in their community, starting from pre-primary to and the primary ages, and where those teachers then are supported with everything that they need to start their school, to grow their school, and to turn it into a thriving school and support their learners, but also really then into a community hub. Yeah, and that is what we do. And I think maybe a bit integrating into the conversation here is that it takes a lot of, for me, this word is always like, it's root science, not rocket science. It's like, it's ultimately going back to so many things that again, as we talked about, that we can re-enchant, which is that if teachers so often feel, or there is so much in the system, there's so much disempowerment and dependency, and versus saying, hey, we're actually putting a teacher and giving, there's so much agency and empowerment that teachers have. And if that is experienced by being a school entrepreneur, by being somebody who is able to change their community, then so much is possible. And that is one big change that we do, is basically from moving from disempowerment to agency of by putting the teacher as the entrepreneur. And the second piece is then is on the level of schools, and like schools being often so isolated, and with that also children being isolated and sort of not, and the individualistic mindset often being a part that is much further, but versus integrating it into the community. So meaning that parents, community members are coming in as practitioners, coming in as mentors, are coming in to learn themselves. Teachers are not only the teachers who have sort of the degree, but who come in from the outside, and vice versa, as we also heard today, students going out into their community, seeing what are the needs. Yeah, and I think maybe the last one is, I think one big part, and a bit back to the conversation about democracy, is like how I think about it is like we're moving from control and from a very top-down system that education is so often and in most places, to a much more sort of bottom-up system that's based on trust. And that, as we are growing Douara, has been one of the biggest pushbacks that I'm getting from people. It's like, no, but it's going to be messy, and people are, how do you trust somebody in somewhere, their community, to do something? It's like, no, who just said it? We have all the good seeds are there, right? We need to trust that people are nurturing their good seeds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we do hope to stay in touch and get more to know about what you do and have you back here. Now I know that there is so much more to say. I know that we should speak about the blue tails. Mariane, if you want to come in for a minute, please do. But I think we have to close the session soon and ask for questions and answers. Because we have diluted our panelists, I would just suggest when we go out for lunch, we have time and you can speak with anyone you want. We are a small group, so that should be no real organized question and answers. So Mariane, back to you to say a few things about the blue tails after the green tails.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. I just wanted to say that through the arts, we can also raise awareness for our green environment and with nature. And this project of Green Tails that we conceived and that we developed with 8 partners, supported by the European Commission in Brussels, involved the World Human Forum as a partner as well. Green Tails, it means that we connect children from Iceland, from Turkey, from Germany, from Spain, to digital art and to stop-motion animation. And we link these children from the primary schools together, centered on the 4 elements of nature: water, fire, air, and earth. And together, they created a beautiful story called the Green Tails movie. And this Green Tails movie will be broadcasted in a world premiere tomorrow in your country, actually, in Syros, in Cyclades, in the Anima Festival, Festival of Animation of Syros. So we are very proud of this also, because it's also a proof that through Green Tails, we can really link children to nature and to these 4 elements which are fundamental for the life on Earth. So I'm sure that tomorrow in Syros, it will be a fantastic broadcasting. And then after on our website, you can see the result of this beautiful film. And now, because we were so much involved in this approach, and thanks to Mirto also with their review, we decided that after Green Tails, we will create Blue Tails linked to water, because water is so important nowadays. It's the next gold element that we will have to protect. So through the arts, I think it's really important that we can also speak about environment, about protection of our planet, about caring together. And this starts with the children, because they are the future of our world. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for giving me the
Thank you.
Alexandra.
Thank you very much. And just some good news about our plans for next year. I think we have never been as advanced as World Human Forum in what we want to do for next year. We have, of course, 3 important flagship events in Delos at the Lyceum of Aristoteles, and of course here in Elefsina, which we are very much looking forward to. We have the dates, we have the titles, we have everything, but we also have 2 important children conferences. One, which is what Kostas mentioned, Kostas Chorianopoulos, in January at the Megaron, the Music Hall of Athens, the Greek Myth to Space conference, where we will invite inspiring speakers and really continue the work we do with the children, but mainly listen from the children and learn from what they have to tell us. And the second is, for me, very, very important. We went for the first time to meet Kiran in India 2 years ago in Ahmedabad, where the Riverside School has been created. We met her again last year in Dubai, where we brought the first Greek pilot. And I want to say something about it. Myrto, if you have a photo on that, I would like you to show it. We worked with a public school in an underprivileged region of Athens called Korydallos. And it was a public school. 11-year-old children were asked to deliberate and decide with the FIDS method what they felt was important for them. And nobody would ever guess what they decided. They decided that they wanted to act upon the fact that Greek drivers are parking their cars anywhere on the corners, on the roads, without respect for anybody with bicycle or people who have disabilities to come by. I mean, I would never have thought that 11-year-old children in Korydallos would have decided to do that. Now, what did they do? They created green and red cards. They wrote their little messages. They went out on the street. They put them on the cars, saying, "Well done, the person who had well parked," saying, "Not so well done, the person who had not well parked." Personally, I felt if I had gotten a red card, maybe I wouldn't have paid attention. But if I had gotten a green card, I would have been very uncomfortable to ever park, in the wrong space again. Then they went to their mayor, they went to the journalists, and in the end, we took them to Dubai to represent Greece at this international children's conference. And when they were in Dubai, because there they had to speak English and they're little Greeks, they were asked, interviewed about why what they had done was important. And there was this little 11-year-old Charalambos who just took the mic like this and said, this is important because this is about empathy. And what we need today is empathy. And still today, I'm telling you the story, and I just can't believe it that that happened. So for us, continuing the work with Kiran and Design for Change is important. We are going to Japan in Tokyo because that's where the next international conference takes place. And here comes the good news. In 26, Design for Change will have its international conference in Athens. And I do hope that by then we will be able to literally, those are the kids that went to Dubai. Charalambos, the little boy on the left, is the one who spoke about empathy. And in 26, they're coming to Greece. And I do hope that by then, with the help of the ministry, but with the help of teachers' communities, and with the help of everybody who cares about those stories, we will be able to really share those stories in a wider way, because I'm convinced that this is what we need. Myrto, I think Kiran sent us a little video where she says hello to finish. Do you have it? If you don't, it's okay. Okay, if you have it, then that's She was actually hoping to join us through a real conversation, but in the end she was flying somewhere, I don't know where, and so we just have the little video.
Hello everybody, this is Kiran Bir Sethi, and I am sending you all a warm namaste all the way from India. I'm so sorry I cannot be there at the ELEUSIS Symposium this year, but I love the theme, re-enchanting humans to nature, and such a powerful way to also notice our human nature with nature. I am sorry that I will be missing you this year, but I am so delighted to say that Design for Change is having its annual global celebration in Greece in 2026 in Athens. So that's where I will see all of you. Bye.